The million-dollar question when it comes to Jogo do Pau is, usually, why have we opted for the uncommon strategy of placing the dominant hand at the back? If needed, please refer to the previous videos on levers for clarification of the different types of levers available to performers. When practicing weapon-based combat, occasionally one moves the whole weapon linearly, as is the case when thrusting. However, in a wide range of other scenarios, one looks to move the weapon in an angular manner, and, as covered previously, one can do so by either pivoting the whole weapon around the backhand, or, alternatively, by pivoting the weapon around a pivot point placed somewhere along the weapon. It so happens that, when performing actions like sweeping the floor, it is standard for people to place the dominant hand in a leading position, as such tasks are usually performed by making use of a third-class lever, going on a second, depending on how close the dominant hand is placed to the center of gravity of the tool in question. Doing so in this context might very well be the best option, since the lower acceleration allowed by such lever does afford better control of the actions of short range of motion that are called for, in the sense of having greater ease in bringing such short motions to a halt and immediately perform another short range motion in a different direction. Apples are apples and oranges are oranges, and we shouldn't confound the two, meaning that motions performed in a combat setting are of significantly wider range of motion, and, additionally, place a greater premium on the maximization of displacement rate. Consequently, handling the weapon by using the hand placed at the back to fuel the pivoting of the weapon around the lead hand allows for performers to rely on first-class levers and, therefore, move faster both on offense and defense. Given this, in the sense that the hand placed at the back will be doing all the coordinative work, it makes perfect sense to place one's dominant hand, which is the most skilled of the two, at the back. This usually leads to the question of how did Jogo do Pau trainees figure this out? This is, indeed, a most valid question, since those who came before us and actually developed this grip strategy were, most likely, not well versed in biomechanics. Nevertheless, the explanation to this question is actually a very simple one. Jogo do Pau sticks have one tip thicker than the other, in the exact same manner as the garden intended sticks that can be found nowadays in most hardware stores. Chances are that Jogo do Pau sticks are like this because people simply found a second use for sticks being manufactured for agricultural work. I have no proof of this, but it makes perfect sense, and furthermore, it is a very down-to-earth explanation, which I tend to find preferable to more exotic ones. Being the energy-saving creatures that we are, as a result of only recently living in a context of abundance, people's first instinct when wielding such weapons in a combat scenario tends to be directed towards efficiency, which translates into holding the weapon by its thicker extremity. Doing so is less tiring on the grip muscles and, additionally, seems to facilitate the handling of the weapon by replacing third-class levers with second-class levers, as the center of gravity of the weapon is moved closer to the grip. However, the immediate side effect that sends this efficiency-driven strategy down the drain is the fact that one will be striking and parrying using the thinnest side of the weapon, and doing so will get it to break fairly easily and thus quickly. As a result, the priority of keeping the weapon from easily breaking forced trainees to start holding the weapon by its thinnest extremity. This, in turn, led to the placement of the center of gravity of the weapon further away from the grip, which, therefore, got the weapon to be off-balanced forward. Such circumstance then led trainees to empirically grasp that merely softening the gripping action of the hand placed at the back would naturally get the weapon to start pivoting around the lead hand when performing the most common strikes, the descending cutting strikes, as well as the most common parries, the overhead and the low blocks. Furthermore, by using the momentum of the weapon in such a manner, trainees also managed to figure out that this strategy produced strikes that were faster, on top of also calling for less energy to be expended. Though performers weren't able to explain this phenomenon through the lens of biomechanics, they were smart enough not to look a gift horse in the mouth. At least some were, while those who did resist the empirical evidence were eventually eliminated through natural selection. And this is, in a nutshell, the answer to the million-dollar question that I've been repeatedly asked over the years. Why do Jogo de Pau combatants place the dominant hand at the back, and how did this come about?